Hey everybody, this is Susie. I was dinking around on Pinterest the other day and came across this greeting card that this lady made of a China hutch, and it gave me the idea, inspiration for this project that we're going to do today. I'm going to be making a 3D dresser decoration, and so let me go over a list of some of the tools that I use to make this. So you're gonna need 2 sheets of medium weight chipboard. You're gonna need 1 sheet of lightweight chipboard, this here, and just like any lightweight chipboard will work. Cereal boxes, whatever that you have, and then you're also going to need 1 piece of craft cardstock. Alright, so then the different tools that I use to make this. So what I used is the HULTZ EASEL die. This is a big die. I used this HULTZ alteration die, and this one is the PLAQUE and POSTAGE, and I used this part right here. And then you're gonna need something comparable to this. Any kind of frame will work, but it will need to, well, not necessarily. Okay, so any frame will work. And then I also used this die by HULTZ, and this one is, what is this one called? This one's called ORNATE frame. And so those are the dies that I used. Okay, so alright, so I'll start with this one here. So you're going to need to cut out 1 of these in the medium weight chipboard. And you're also going to need to, let me see, where did I put that? Of course, it's under everything. Alright, so you're going to need to cut out with this die also a piece of, this is HULTZ mirror. So you're going to need to cut out 1 of these, or excuse me, cut this shape out of 1 of these, and there's 2 of these in a pack, and they're a 6x9 sheets. So you're going to need to cut out this shape in the mirror. And I will have all of the measurements and tools and supplies that I use listed in the information area underneath the video. Alright, so this is the frame die, so you're going to need to cut 1 of these out, and it cuts the circle area out also, which you're going to need to keep. And then you're going to cut the mirror out, and the only part you're going to need to keep on the mirror is just this center piece right here. And it's got a sticky back on the back of it, so just peel it and stick it to the chipboard piece here. So, and then it fits in just like this. Well, you get the, anyway, so it fits in like that. And you're not going to want to glue that in or anything at the beginning, and well, I'll go through that during it. Okay, so, and then the other thing that I used is this embossing folder, and any wood grain embossing folder will work. What did I do? I put everything out so I knew where it was, and then I don't know where it is. Pretty typical. Okay. I will have the name of this listed below. Hello, so what I did was I took a piece of cardstock, a 1-inch piece of cardstock, scored it in the center and glued it in on the areas and the corners and stuff on the easel for added strength. Hello. Okay, so what I have is I took a piece of 8.5 by 11 medium weight chipboard and cut it in half with, well, almost in half. I made one piece about 1/8 of an inch bigger than the other piece. And then I used 2 pieces of 6 by 12 pattern paper and cut it to the 8.5 by 5.5 size, with a little bit of extra room on the sides to kind of flip it over on the edges a little bit. If you have a little bit bigger piece of pattern paper, wider, that you have that you want to use, it would probably be a little easier to get it to fold over the edges than what I did, but I didn't have that size and that color, so I glued that on there, and then I'm just cutting off the excess paper from the edges. Okay, so after you get that all trimmed, you're going to want to let the paper dry good on there before we do this next step. So what I've got is the border die, and you're going to want to line that up on there, and you're going to want to do both pieces. Try to make a mental note or mark it on the edges if you have to or need to, so that you get both pieces die cut in the same place. And I'm just getting that lined up now, and then I've just got some washi tape that I'm going to tape it down with so that it doesn't move in the die cutting machine. Here I'm just showing what the 2 pieces look like once they're die cut out. Okay, sorry guys, this part of my video cut out on me, so I slowed it way down so that you guys could see what I'm talking about. So you're going to want to get your frame big die, and on the bottom of only one of the pieces of chipboard, you're going to want to line it up about halfway on the longer side of the edge of the die. And here you can see there what it looks like once it's cut out. Okay, so I've got the piece of the craft cardstock and my leftover pieces of pattern paper, and I'm just going to do double-sided tape on the whole thing on both pieces and tape them down to the piece of chipboard, and then you're going to want to cut out just the pattern paper pieces on there, and we're going to use those to make the drawers for the dresser. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, with the pattern paper facing up, we're going to cut on just the one side a 1/2 inch in on either side of each piece of chipboard on the front side. And what that's going to do is that's going to give us a score mark. It's not going to cut all the way through. It's just going to give us a score mark so that we can fold the sides down on both pieces. Alrighty, so after I got it scored, I needed to cut in just a tiny bit more with my utility knife. Make sure you don't cut all the way through though. So you're just going to want to get that cut down enough so that you can fold it on either side. Okay, so one of the pieces is going to be just a tiny bit smaller than the other, and that's the one that's going to go on the inside. So you're just going to want to glue these two pieces together. I laid down some art glitter glue and topped it with some hot glue. I didn't want it to come apart anytime. So anyway, so then just got that glued together. Okay, so what I have is a piece of craft cardstock that's cut to 5.5 by 4.5, and I ran that through the die cutting machine, well, in the wood grain embossing folder, and now I'm going over it with the distress ink, and after I go over it with the cube, then I'm going to go in with the blender and get the color down deep into it. And also too, it's not shown here, but I went ahead, I didn't think it was dark enough, so I actually went back in with the ink cube and the blender and made it quite a bit darker than what I'm showing right here too.